And so we start in Nigeria, where the Labour Party presidential candidate for the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, on Thursday said the party will give a transparent account of funds realized during the campaign process. Obi stated this during a press conference in Abuja on Thursday amid the fresh crisis that has rocked the party over sales of forms and other fundraising activities for the 2023 general elections in the country. On Monday, the Labour Party's national treasurer, Oluchi Okpara, asked the party's national chairman, Julius Abure, to account for 3.5 billion naira raised from the sale of nomination forms and fundraising activities in the build-up to the 2023 general elections. And now, at this point, joining me to discuss this, we have Victor Opatola, who is a legal practitioner. And then, yes, we also have Comrade Eragbe Anslem, who is the national youth leader for the Labour Party. Gentlemen, it's nice to have you around on the conversation.
It's my pleasure. Comrade Eragbe Anslem here, national youth leader, Labour Party.
Yes, you're welcome. So I'm going to start with Anslem. It's been said that the political parties in Nigeria are the same and none can be trusted when it comes to either money or quality governance or a direction in party policies and activities, owing to the same set of political actors within the system. So here we have a case of the Labour Party enmeshed in alleged mismanagement of funds. So isn't it rather disappointing to hear of such news about a party that some Nigerians thought was a true departure from the ones that pre-existed?
Okay, thank you. My host, Eragbe Anslem is my name, the national youth leader of Labour Party. Well, from the question you asked, it's quite disappointing and disheartening, really, to find out that Labour Party is immersed in the kind of allegations that have eroded the Labour Party National Working Committee, particularly the leadership, as represented, as it were today, by the restrained Labour Party National Chairman, Barrister Julius Abure. The cases of forgery, perjury, criminal conspiracy, financial malfeasance, embezzlement, money laundering, diversion of party funds, and the whatnot. So there are a lot of issues that are bedeviling the Labour Party pre-2023 general elections and post-election up to today. So Nigerians have actually looked forward to a party that they have desired and hoped that will rescue the country, beginning with the elections of 2023, more so with the hope the youth of this country had with respect to who the president or the presidential candidate, particularly as it affected the Labour Party, His Excellency Peter Obi, and probably the victory we had anticipated from that election. The fallout of that election was as a result of the mismanagement of the fortunes of the youth of this country. Peter Obi ideally was on the way to victory until so many things happened contrarily. This had to do with the party's inability to manage the electoral process. Remember then, people like us were accused and were forcefully ejected from the party. To then I knew the party was on the wrong path because we had designed processes. We had mobilized the youth of this country to the point where we were sure that victory was imminent. Then I had made it so clear that for victory to be sure, we needed to be able to harness the polling unit results, particularly the Form EC8A. And to that effect, we had developed 3 ICT solutions to be able to harness the Form EC8A, the Labour Party election mobile application that contains the situation room and the display window. But we lost all of this because of the crisis that ensued, because Abure, who knew what I was doing, lied to the public. And to that effect, even when the result of the election went the other way, we had thought that going to the tribunal would have been the succor. But even at the level of the tribunal, like I said at the time, I said we needed to prove that we won the election. We needed to harness the Form EC8A, which Abure couldn't do. Remember then he had replaced me forcefully, illegally with Kennedy Ahanotu, who was then the Deputy National Secretary and still the Deputy National Secretary. So all of them put together couldn't do the needful. So the pains Peter Obi suffered up to today is as a result of the mismanagement from the Labour Party. And today, Oluchi Okpara has come out again, evidently, to say that there have been a lot of forgery concerning how checks were forged. The signatures of the late chairman, Anslem, were forged to withdraw money. We saw the case of a Ebonyi Splendor Oko Eze. Abure had forged his withdrawal letter, forged his signatures, and removed his details from the INEC database, putting fake details on the INEC database. It's on record today when you go to the INEC database that there were a lot of manipulation. Our candidate in Ebonyi State, Splendor Oko Eze, was forcefully removed using fake documents. It's on evidence. Splendor Oko Eze had to sue INEC and the Labour Party for 50 billion naira, and that matter is coming for determination on the 22nd of this month, February 2024.
Well, Comrade Anslem, permit me to just come in here. I'd like us to just clarify some things. Earlier on, you said that you were eschewed from the party, the fact that that is Julius Abure, who is the national chairman, lied to the public. So I'd like to find out what were the reasons or the basis for the issues you had with the Labour Party as a body, and are you also calling to question the leadership style of Julius Abure as the national chairman of the party? Kindly clarify that before we move on.
Well, basically, like I said, concerning why, remember, Abure single-handedly imposed a 6-month restriction by way of illegal suspension on my person from 20th October to April 2020, 20th October 2022 to April 2023. I'm back since on the 6th of April 2023 as the National Youth Leader of Labour Party. Now let me say this, and this is part of the illegality that has continued. Now the NWC of any political party in Nigeria, by constitutional provision, do not have the power to suspend NWC members. If any NWC member committed any infraction, you set up a disciplinary committee. Now, such a person will meet the committee, and the NWC, through the chairman or secretary, will refer their own recommendation to the NEC, which is the National Executive Council. It's on record today, as I'm talking with you, that none of the illegal suspension that were perpetrated in Labour Party by Julius Abure single-handedly is valid. You've seen what has just happened to Oluchi Okpara. Now, a kangaroo committee was set up and she has been suspended again illegally. So I'm saying authoritatively today before the world to say Oluchi Okpara remains the national treasurer of Labour Party because the National Working Committee does not have the constitutional power to suspend anybody. So if Abure had conducted any investigation, it behoves Abure to send such, besides send such reports to the NEC, the National Executive Council, who will, by virtue of two-thirds majority of vote cast in favor or against to decide the fate of that officer. So this is the position of law.
Okay.
That said, Abure was restrained on the 5th of April 2023 by the FCT High Court. What is the issue? Now, when Abure manipulated, forged a withdrawal letter and forged the signature of Oko Eze, the governorship candidate of Ebonyi State, and illegally and unlawfully withdrew Oko Eze's details from the INEC portal and put that of Edward Ukwegu. Now, it was clear that many infractions were committed at this point. Of course, the young man
Comrade Anslem. Okay, so a couple of allegations that you have leveled against the Julius Abure, of course, who is the national chairman of the Labour Party. We are going to revisit that, but then let me quickly bring Opatola Victor into this because, of course, he's a legal practitioner, and it's also good to have this improper perspective looking at it from the legal side. Now, you probably would have watched the video where the national treasurer of the Labour Party, that is Oluchi Okpara, came out to level allegations against the national leader of the Labour Party, saying about 3.5 billion naira was misappropriated by Abure, but then that came out of written statements. But then in response, Julius Abure came with documents as evidences to prove that whatever it is in terms of allegations leveled against him were false. Now, Does it seem as though the allegations leveled against Julius Abure were fabricated from your point of view?
Thank you very much. Actually, there is no point of view here. The only point of view here is the point of view of the law. The responsibility and the burden of requesting for campaign donations from candidate and political party rests solely on INEC. So the burden here is for INEC pursuant to Section 87 of the Electoral Act and Section 225 of the Constitution to demand for account of the political party, to demand for all the funds that were donated to the party, how it was spent, the account book of the political party. The burden is on INEC, and this is a constitutional provision as much as it is also a judgment. Sometimes in 2022, a matter was instituted against INEC to compel INEC to create a regulatory procedure to ensure that political parties give detailed account of the monies they receive during election period and the money they spent during that period, to give a detailed account to INEC. So which the court actually gave judgment in. The name of the matter is Opatola Victor and another versus INEC. And the court, that's Federal High Court before Justice Nyako, gave judgment compelling INEC to create and ensure a regulatory procedure to demand the campaign finance, to demand amounts spent by political parties, to compel political parties to give a detailed account of the amounts they receive and the procedure and process to which they spent it, which up till today, INEC has failed, to follow the judgment of the court and to ensure in all totality that campaign funds are effectively accounted for. So the burden pursuant to the Constitution, when it comes to campaign finance, when it comes to money donated to candidates, when it comes to money donated to political party, pursuant to Section 78 of the Electoral Act and Section 225 of the Constitution, the burden, the power resides in INEC as a mega regulatory body, to demand for the account book and scrutinize the account book to know whether or not there has been infractions in regards to whether the amount that was supposed to be declared was declared, whether the amount that was supposed to declare was not declared, and most importantly, the source of such fund must, as a matter of fact, be stated to INEC, as the case may be. So it need not be an opinion of an individual. What is essential is what does the law stipulate? What does the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria stipulate? And what is the provision of the Electoral Act? And like I said, the provision of the Electoral Act and the Constitution is that it places a burden on INEC to demand the account book of all political parties and all candidates to scrutinize how they spent the money that was donated to them, who donated this amount, to scrutinize the effectiveness of the process.
So I guess you would also blame INEC for different stories that has flown around that some parties actually spent more than they ought to have spent, because we know that there's always a price cap for every campaign organization, for every campaign that is being undertaken by a political party. There's a particular price that they are meant to spend and shouldn't go above it. So that would mean that, according to you, Victor, that INEC has also not done its due diligence in ensuring that they stay within the limits of what has been stipulated for them, of course, to spend. So does that mean that a lot needs to be done on the part of INEC to stand on their feet and do what is needful when it comes to monitoring campaigns, finances, and every other party activity?
Now, the issue of cap amount on the amount a candidate can spend or a political party can spend is different. But what I'm saying is that there is a burden on INEC itself to demand account from political parties and candidates, to demand how much was donated to them, how much they've spent, who are those that donated the amount to the political party and the candidate. There is a burden on them. And the spirit of the law, why the law did this, is because it's because of dark money. You know, when you look at the way this election, the just concluded election was done, you will notice the influx of dark money, you know, which can influence electorate, which can subjugate the democracy we are practicing. So the spirit of the law is to ensure the sanctity of the process, to ensure accountability of the process.
Okay.
And when you look at it, when it comes to the provision of the law, the provision of the Constitution and the Electoral Act, you will quickly observe that INEC is not living up to its mandate. INEC has dropped the gauntlet. There is an existing court judgment in regards to this, that's Opatola Victor and another versus INEC, which compels and mandates INEC to issue a regulatory procedure and ensure that it demands account from political parties and candidates as to how much they've received and how they spent the amount and the source of that amount. So the burden, the knock on the head is supposed to go to INEC, because had it been INEC did what it ought to do within the time frame stipulated by the Constitution, what is happening here will have been observed and noticed by INEC, and those that are perpetrating fraud will have been made to account for it. So the knock here
Victor,
INEC.
Victor, thank you very much. Let me quickly go back to Comrade Anslem. Of course, I was talking about issues around forged documents and all that. But then I'd like to just bring it home and focus on these particular allegation leveled against the national chairman of the Labour Party. Now, Anslem, the party chairman has come out to say that everything that Oluchi Akpara has said are just pure lies, that there's been an audit and there's a report on it between 2022 and 2023 of the accounts and the finance of the party, and these documents are available for public scrutiny. And of course, the chairman of the party, including the national publicity secretary of the Labour Party, that is Obiora, has also come out to say that those allegations are malicious and spurious. So looking at these internal wranglings in the party, does it look as though there are some members or some people, either within or outside the party, who are trying to destabilize the party, who are trying to cause rancor and bring the party to disrepute?
Well, okay, thank you. First and foremost, let me say Obiora Ifo is not in a position to speak on this matter. Now, this is the 8th years running of Oluchi Akpara being the national treasurer of the Labour Party, whose constitutional duties it is to know the financial records, how money come into the Labour Party's account, particularly, and to either co-sign checks with the national chairman and the national secretary. So I'm saying this to say now, the only person outside Aburi, the only person, I repeat, the only person that has such authority and such level of information that exists in the Labour Party is Oluchi Akpara. Now, Oluchi Akpara has made it evidently clear, even by way of submission, to say about 2 point something billion, even from Aburi's record, when you sum that, about 2.1 billion naira was raised through sale of forms for the 2023 general election. That's on the one hand. Probably you may add the 800 or 700 million. His Excellency Peter Obi said he contributed to the party, whatever. If that amounted to 2.1 billion naira, Oluchi Akpara further said that the inflow that accrued from the off-season election in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi State in the 2023 elections that took place in October 13th, October 2023, amounted to about 950-something million thereabout. Oluchi further said, for just the rerun election that took place in this January, about 30 million came in. And that for the Edo 2024 gubernatorial activities, primaries that are ongoing, over 200 million naira has already come into the coffers, which Abure used his account, his family account, and otherwise to collect. Now, ordinarily, arithmetically, if you sum the 2.1 billion plus 958 million, that's already 3 billion, plus the over 200 million in Edo, that's about 3.2 billion, plus the 30 million, that's close to 3.3 or 3 point something billion, ordinarily, without having the exact details, because she has these records of the inflow. Now, so for
Anslem, we seem to have lost audio from your end. You may need to check that out or mute your device if possible, so that we can get audio quality from you. Comrade Anslem. All right, so, okay, yes. So, okay, so in all these things that you have said, you
in all of this, yes. What I said is to say, Abure is not in a position right now to tell the world the truth.
But then, Comrade Anslem, you just discovered that the statistics or the figures that you have rolled out are those of Oluchi Okpara. You do not have direct access to the financial account of the Labour Party. And you would also agree with me that while she was rolling out those figures, she didn't actually tender any documents to corroborate her claims as Julius Abure did.
Yeah, let me tell you something quickly. Now, when you're talking about the inflows, Oluchi Okpara made it clear that most of these monies, if not all, some came through Abure's personal account, some came in through Abure's company's account, some came in through Abure's family members' account, while others came in through the party's account. And I can tell you from here that that's exactly what happened. But Oluchi has the record. She knows who and who paid money at any time T, whether they came through Abure's account, Abure's company's account, Abure's family members' account, and some of the Labour Party's account. So these are the issues. So, of course, the matters are in the public domain. So what is expected in the days ahead is for a clear harmonization. Oluchi, now I'm saying further to say, Oluchi has presented some account details of some of these persons. So she will do well. Where she cannot do well, the relevant authorities may have to come into this, the EFCC and everybody, obtain all these account statements of these persons, dating from, let's say, January 2022 to date. And I can tell you evidently, most of these inflows that came through all of these accounts, which she's aware of, will be discovered. Then at that level, there will be a collation of these figures, and it will be clear to the world what transpired. But I am telling you from here that even before my crisis, I knew how I was collecting some of these monies.
So why didn't you raise an alarm? Why didn't you raise an alarm when you noticed that there were...
Like I said, you see, now, as time goes on, sooner the world will understand why somebody was Eragbe Anslem was the first person to be attacked and maligned. And the issues are now coming to the fore. So but I'm telling you, even from here, this hour, I'm telling the world that that is the procedure Abure adopted. Diverting monies meant for the party's account through his personal account, his company's account, his family members' account. And Oluchi Okpara has these details.
But you don't have the details. All right, let me quickly go back to Victor. Looking at how this particular issue has blown out of proportion, we understand that transparency is crucial when it comes to maintaining public trust in political parties and, of course, public spaces. And ensuring accountability for their financial activities is very, very expedient. So let's leave INEC for now and look at these parties and these political office holders, public holders, people in the political space, handlers of finances, most especially within the political realm. Can Nigeria's public and political space ever get it right when it comes to issues of accountability and transparency?
Definitely, I believe we can get it right. And I believe this present issue, it should not end at mere banter of words between the various parties involved. If one party is demanding accountability and the other party is not allowing that accountability, it should not stop at social media trading of words. It should be made substantive. There should be an investigation, and it is not enough that it is in the public domain. A party claiming there is fraudulent activity from another party should be bold enough to make a petition to the EFCC or the Nigerian police to investigate the matter further. We should stop this social media trial. And if we are making claim, when we talk about fraudulent activity, fraud, misappropriation of funds, these are heavy issues which should not stop at social media banter between both parties or trading of words. It should be concretized. If a party is alleging that the other party has misappropriated funds, the energy with which it brought it to the fore, to the public, to public knowledge, he or she can also, formally write a petition to the FCC, and the FCC will, formally cause an investigation into it, which will propel and which will ensure that such issue of misappropriation of funds gradually we begin to stem it in our public space.
Victor Opatola, our legal practitioner, and Comrade Eragbe, Anslem, National Youth Leader for the Labour Party. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much. My pleasure always.
Junta-led Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger plan to proceed with the establishment of a confederation, the Malian Foreign Ministry said on Thursday, as the three countries deepen ties via an alliance that threatens broader West African integration. The neighbors in the impoverished Sahel region announced in January they would quit the Economic Community of West African States, that is ECOWAS, a decision the bloc has urged them to rethink, warning of the additional hardship these withdrawal would bring. At a meeting in the Burkina capital, Ouagadougou, their three ministers confirmed a joint commitment to withdraw from ECOWAS without delay and continue cooperation under a pact known as the Alliance of Sahel States. At this point, Bamidele Ayemibo, lead consultant, 3T Impex Consulting, joins me from Lagos, Nigeria. It's nice to have you around on the program.
Yeah, good. Hey, how are you?
Of course, I'm fine. Thank you so much. Now, let's look at these three countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. They have said that they want to establish a confederation, and we know that a confederation is somewhat of a looser form of union compared to a federation. And each member state retains significant autonomy, but they cooperate on certain matters like probably defense, foreign policy, and trade. So, considering their socioeconomic sizes, can this alliance succeed? Or maybe this is just an effort in futility?
I like the question you asked. I won't be able to predict whether you succeed or not. There are a lot of factors they need to consider. The economies are very small. But when I look at, during our conversation the last time, and I was looking at the dynamics of their trade, if I look at it from security perspective, I think the cohesion will help them a lot to come together and work as a team to fight the insurgents. I think that's a good one for them. For trade among themselves, they are small economies, so they can't really depend on themselves. As far as trade is concerned, they need other countries. And, they're already having those alliances. In fact, one of the things that made them to want to pull out is that they want autonomy as far as their economy is concerned. And they want to reduce pressure from AU and ECOWAS. Now, and from their trade, as it is right now, even within ECOWAS rely on their market more than they rely on ECOWAS market in terms of trade. They do more in terms of their export to many countries outside of Africa. So for trade-wise, either they are with us or not, they still already are not doing much with ECOWAS anyway in terms of export. But for security reasons, I think it will be a good one for them if they can work together to be able to fight the insurgents. In terms of whether it will be successful or not, I think we have to look at it from different perspectives and different metrics as far as I'm concerned. So I won't be able to say whether it's going to be successful or not. But if I'm looking at it from trade perspective, maybe among themselves it will be good, and they're already doing with outside. In terms of security, I think it will be good for them security. They're also thinking of monetary union. maybe that will help them because they want to pull out of dependence on France and maybe have control over their foreign reserve.
Let's quickly look at the economic potential of these three countries. Now, they have gold, lithium, uranium, zinc, copper, diamonds, gas, crude oil, limestone, and some others. And it's been said that these are the mineral resources that the colonial masters have feasted on for decades. And now analysts say that taking back all these mineral resources and forming an alliance would result in accelerated economic boom for them, and that ECOWAS should also be weary. So when you look at the economic potential that they have, don't you also see it in that light that if they're able to form alliance and have that synergy, they might just be able to take probably West Africa by storm?
Now, those products you mentioned is not being together that will help them, because they will be trading those things with people outside of Africa. So having autonomy over it is extremely important. I think it's a very good development. Only that you have to go this way for this to happen, but it's good for that nation. But in terms of trade, they are going to be trading with people outside. So at the end of the day, it's good for them as individual country, and they now have enough resources for development of themselves and be able to fight insurgents. So if you look at it from that perspective, it's not the Confederation that is doing this, it's the fact that they are having independence of the West and they are able to have control over their resources and be able to trade and generate all the income. I think is where the benefit is for them. Coming together, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing that in terms of security. I'm not seeing that in terms of trade, in terms of export, because they won't buy commodity for themselves. They all need to export this commodity to generate income. But maybe trading some other products among themselves will help, which ECOWAS is already doing anyway. So I don't see a lot of difference in that because they're already doing that as member of ECOWAS. So I don't see a lot of difference in that among trading among themselves. But in terms of autonomy about their product and shipping abroad, of course, that will generate a lot of funding for them to be able to develop their country like they're planning to do.
All right, so let's quickly look at the excuses these military juntas have given for, of course, exerting a coup in their respective states. Now, excuses have been given in these countries, which also include the struggles to contain Islamist insurgents. You mentioned it a while ago, and that has actually destabilized the sub-region for a couple of years now. There's also the continuous plunder of resources by their colonial masters while the people remain impoverished. There's also the issue of democratic leaders being puppets of the West and former colonialists, and a lavish lifestyle and perpetuation in power by these leaders amidst large-scale poverty. So when you look at these excuses, are they valid reasons for military takeover in a country where a person or a candidate was democratically elected?
There is a challenge I see in Africa around the way we have adopted democracy. Some countries are not in democracy, they have monarchy, and they've been able to do what they need to do. So, in as much as military regime is dictatorial, and because of the enormous power can then become the absolute power corrupt, absolutely, that is a concern for many people. And that explains the reason why there are apprehensions here and there. But the fact still remains that democracy is not working for Africa the way we practice it.
Why is that? Why is that? Because when you look at other countries and other climes, democracy is said to be burgeoning. So why is it not working in Africa?
The way we practice it. The way we practice it. We practice it the way the West have advanced a lot. And they can afford what it is. I believe strongly. When you say dictator, look at this. The issue with dictator is what the dictator is dictating. If you have a dictator dictating the right thing, then you won't say it's a dictator, because at the end of the day, they call Kagame dictator, for example. It's a form of democracy. But Kagame is making Rwanda to grow. Of course, he has his own issue and the like, but all in all, Rwandan people are happy with the kind of country they have today because of what this guy is doing. So what I'm going to say is that we need, in quote, a form of dictatorship done by someone that is thinking for his people, that love his people. But we say we don't have dictator, but some people are dictating for the African government that is making them to impoverish their people. These people, as long as you submit to what they want, No matter what you do to your people, they are okay.
So who are those? Who are those? Who are those? Who are those dictating? I'd like to quickly find out from you. Who are those dictating to these African leaders?
French now. What France is doing with them? They see them as puppets. Look at this. Do you know Washington has recognized Niger military to work with them? Why? They said, look, we can't change this. We have to work with them. Now, why is making America to do that? America is thinking of its own interest. America is thinking of its own interest. This is supposed to be one of the foremost democracies in the world. Thinking of their own interest. They are trying to accept these people. Look, we need to think of our own. As long as it allows us to do what we need to do, we have to accept it. These are the West accepting it. Now, I was trying to say something about the fact that one of the complaints they gave is AU, who support democracy, ECOWAS, champion democracy. When the Democratic leader is impoverishing their people, AU keep quiet, ECOWAS keep quiet. Now we say we don't want it again. You guys are put under pressure. In fact, the Burkina Faso leader said he's not more interested in talking to ECOWAS and AU because whenever they come, they are looking at what is the date of election. That's what they're interested in. And when are you going to hand over? They're not interested in what is the state of our people. And this is what making these people to be angry. And then we are responding and we are shutting them down like we want to cripple them economically. It's good the way Benin Republic and Togo is, even Ghana is saying they're not going to stop the support they are giving Burkina Faso. Togo and Benin Republic are saying, we're going to allow you, they have opened their border for them to be able to train. Because look, in Yoruba Parliament, they said the cutting the head is not the solution to headache. This has happened. What can we do? These people are mean well for their people. Okay, what can we do? We should be looking at win-win situation rather than say you must return to democracy, even if democracy is not serving them.
Okay, I understand. Well, now let's look at the response of ECOWAS. Now, I think ECOWAS in a bit has tried to be diplomatic and it has tried as much as possible to appeal to their ego, and it has told them to look at this issue critically, to rethink about the decision and try as much as possible not to pull out from the bloc. Now, it seems as though the military juntas in this country have remained adamant, but then what would you suggest for them to do, looking at all the issues that you've painted around what they can gain and what they stand to lose?
What I think is these guys have assessed the situation and realized that we are really have nothing to lose living ECOWAS. If ECOWAS will do this to us because of we say we want our country to be better, we don't want these people that are impoverishing in our country. You are not supporting the fact that we want to be free. You want us to go back to what will make us not to be free. So my opinion, I think, look, the decision they are taking, it doesn't look to me they want to go back. Forming an alliance, trying to get single currency, it doesn't look like me they want to go back. They said they want to be able to negotiate trade independently without the cost of ECOWAS. It doesn't look like me they want to go back. I think coming back is better because when you are together as a cohesive force, you are better off, which is why they are trying to form an alliance together. They are still realizing it. So I see possibility of coming back in future because they can see they themselves that, look, we need a team. We need to work together to be able to be a cohesive force, a force to reckon with. But the ECOWAS have to come to terms with the fact that what these people want is for their country to be better. And don't try to twist us to do what is not doing well for us because you are in that. If it's working for you, it's not working for us. So I think they should do what America is doing. America is saying, we have accepted the way you are, and we will work with you the way you are for our own interest, rather than saying you must return back to democracy.
Okay, but then you cannot take away from the fact that these countries have remained hard-headed because of the Russian factor. Now, Russia has provided military expertise and financial support to these Francophone countries in the last few months thereabouts. But then experts have said that they will need to be wary, they will need to be cautious of Russia, that they can't be trusted. Do you think they should trust Russia or they should just take caution?
Not just Russia, even with Turkey, I think Burkina Faso with Turkey, you are very correct. You are very, very correct. Every country, look, aid is never for free. Whatever support any country is giving is never for free. It is always to garner soft power. It is always to generate soft power. So I agree completely. They need to be treading carefully and be cautious to be sure that they are not over-reliant on this and becoming difficult to pull out because they now rely so much on them to be able to fight the insurgents or do whatever they have to do. So I strongly agree they need to be cautious. Whoever it is, either China or Turkey or Russia, whoever it is they're working with or trying to support them, they need to be cautious so that it doesn't become a tool for manipulation from these people.
Okay, let's go back to the issue of AU and ECOWAS you mentioned earlier, because one of the allegations or complaints by these three countries is that AU and ECOWAS have not really supported them in terms of helping them grow economically, politically, and otherwise. But then when it comes to their political cycle, their election cycle, they are always interested. Does it seem as though these bodies have lost their relevance or they have lost focus when it comes to protecting African countries, especially within the West African region?
I think they are losing their relevance. Losing, not lost, losing their relevance. And the reason is simple. Not being interested in the progress of the people the way the people want it. Trying to keep their oppressors in power by tool of democracy is a challenge. So I would say they have lost their relevance. I would say they are losing their relevance because if these three countries pull out and they successfully do it and the economy they start to grow, other people are going to say, so why are we here in the first place? Why are we here in the first place? But that will work for countries that is not significantly relying on African countries. The fact that intra-African trade volume is very low contribute to this, which is why if AFCFTA becomes very, very successful, this will be difficult to happen in future, which is one of the reasons with ETLS in West Africa. ETLS is not working very well in West Africa, and ECOWAS is not doing enough to make ETLS work. If ETLS had worked very well in West Africa, such that every part, not just a few, is benefiting, it will be very difficult to pull out because it's going to affect you and affect your people.
Bamidele Ayemibo, lead consultant, 3T Impex Consulting. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Of course. Now, it seems as though Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger are testing the waters, but who knows where the ship might sail. So it's something we just need to keep focusing on. And even as ECOWAS has come out to say, hey, let's think about this. We're all brothers, we're all friends, we're all neighbors. Don't go. Let's see how we can find a way around it. Whether or not these Francophone countries would listen and accede or tilt towards the demands of ECOWAS, only time will tell, but it's something that we will continue to monitor. What is important is for the prosperity of Africa by Africans and for Africans. My name is Lekon Obanjo. It's nice having this conversation with you. And of course, we will bring up some of the topics some other time on Friday to discuss and look at issues like this, where we see how we can foster development and positivity for the African continent. Do enjoy the rest of your day.